this video, we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this Ankara jacket with droplet or peplum sleeve. Shout out to a sew friend, Chioma, who sponsored and requested for this tutorial. So quickly, let's get started. We'll be drafting the back part first. For what I placed on fold, I measured my hip measurement divided by 2 and I went ahead to add 2 inches. So you're going to measure your hip measurement divided by 2, then you add 2 inches for cutting allowance. I went ahead to place it on fold. Now you should be using the biggest part of your body measurement to get the width of the jacket. If the bust, the waist or the hip is the biggest part of your body, you should use the biggest part of your body divided by 2 plus 2 inches to get the width of the back part. When cutting out fabric for the back part, the length for the back should be 3 inches longer than your desired length, so that you can use that extra to move the back to the front a bit. So I had to place this on fold, and I'm using just the length of the Ankara as the length of this jacket, but you should always use your desired length. So because we are cutting the back part is not expected to have any opening, so we're going to be working with this closed part of our fabric. So starting from the top here, I'll measure 1 inch like this, and I'm going to connect this with a slanted line to the top part like so. So I'll go ahead to cut this out. I'm going to place this slanted part on fold like this. All you have to do is to measure 1.5 inch so that when you are done sewing, you are going to be left with 1 inch. So I'll just mark 1.5 inches like so, so that the slant is going to be equal all through. And I'm going to place this on fold like this. Now doing this is going to make sure your jacket not to be falling to the back side. So I'll just pin this up so that it will stay down for me. If just to avoid confusion, you can go ahead to straighten up this part like this. You are just cutting the up part, do not include the down part. You just straighten it up so that you can see the straight part of this. I cut the same thing out for the front part. I'll place it on fold. I'm going to be placing it underneath the shoulder fold of the back part. Just make sure it is sitting underneath the fold like this, and I'm going to pin it up. I'll mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm going to be using my divided shoulder measurement to mark out my armhole depth. To get a straight line, I'll measure my shoulder measurement on the armhole depth point, and I'm going to mark it out. Connect this together with a straight line. Get the midpoint of the straight line, which is like half of whatever you use as your armhole depth. At the midpoint, you go in by 0.5 inch and you connect this to the shoulder like this, and from there you can go ahead to make your armhole curve. To know where I will insert my body measurement, I'll place my tape on the top part like so, and I'm going to mark my bust point, my half length, and my hip line, and this is going to help me know where I would insert my body measurement. So on the bust point, I'm going to mark out my bust measurement divided by 4. So it will give me 9 for my bust measurement. So I'm going to be adding ½ inch for ease and ½ inch for sewing allowance. So I'm not going to be inserting my waist measurement because this is like a free jacket. So I'm going to go to my hip measurement. My hip measurement and my bust measurement is the same thing. So I'm just going to mark the same thing I marked at the up. Just in case your hip and your bust measurement is not the same thing, all you can do, just use the biggest part of your body and you connect this line straight from the top part to the full length. Your line should be straight. To get a really straight line, you go to the full length and you measure what you measured at your hip point, which includes your hip measurement, your sewing allowance, and your ease measurement, and you connect this straight up. And I'll go ahead to cut this out. So I'm going to notch the shoulder here like so, and we are going to be cutting out the neck. For the neck part, I'll mark 3 inches wide and 3 inches deep for the neck. Remember, this is the front part, and this part that have the shift on the shoulder is the back part. So I'm going to go ahead to connect my 3 by 3 mark like so. Remember, this is the front part and this is the back part, and this 3 by 3 neck depth is supposed to be on the front part only. So what you are going to do is that you are differentiating the back, like you are separating the back part from the front part, and you are going to cut this neckline like this. Okay, you can see that I'm cutting only the front part, the back part is not cut out. So you are going to cut this like so into the back shoulder fold like this. This is just to make sure that the neckline is very even and very round, and you are cutting this to round it up at this point like this. I hope you understand. So I'll just take like so round up into the front neckline like this. All right, so you can see how very round our neckline is, and I'm going to just blend this point so that it is not pointed like so. So you see how very round our neckline is, like senators wear. Okay, so don't make a mistake of cutting the back part in the process of doing this cut out. So I'm going to go ahead to mark out where the shoulder fold touches the front part. I'm going to remove my pin from the back shoulder now, and I will not be cutting exactly on the line. I'll be cutting 0.5 inch away, and this 0.5 inch away is for the joining allowance. Please do not make a mistake of cutting the back piece when you are trimming the shoulder. So next, remember that this is a jacket and the front needs to be open, but I'm going to be sharing with you a very important secret, so you need to pay attention at this part. So I'll just drop the back part aside now. Now remember that this is the front part, and the front part of your jacket is expected to be open. Now if you go ahead to just divide it up like this, it will not be giving that open look where you wear it. So next, you're going to measure 1 inch from the top part to the down part. To get a very straight line, you measure your 1 inches, you mark it out with a dotted line, and you connect it up with your straight rule, and you are going to cut out this 1 inch. Next, you're going to measure 1 inch from the previous neck, and you're going to blend the neckline to come into this cut out like this. Okay, so you make a curve of 1 inch like so, and you go ahead to cut it out. This is all on the cutting. So next, I'll go ahead to cut lining for the front and the back. All you have to do is to make sure your lining is 1 inch shorter than the front, so that you can use it to turn the down neatly. So I went ahead to cut out a cutout for the sleeve. You can see I have this on fold, and the length of what I have here is from my shoulder to my elbow measurement. I have 2 of these, and the width of each of these is supposed to be equal to your armhole circumference. So I'm going to place this on fold like this so that we can cut the both sleeves at once. All right, so remember that this side has a piece that is open, so you're going to be working with the part that has the center all closed up for the sleeve center. You measure 4 inches from the top, and you are going to connect this 4 inches mark to the top part with a slanted line like this. On this slanted line, you measure your round armhole circumference divided by 2 plus 1 inch sewing allowance, and this is just mine. So you are going to get the midpoint of this slanted line, and you go up by half of an inch, and you connect it with a curve like so, and you connect to the down like so. So you're going to go to the down part, and you measure your round sleeve measurement divided by 2. You add your sewing allowance and connect this with a slanted line. Then you can go ahead to cut this out for the sleeve. So I'll notch the center of the sleeve. So for the flail, this is the left fabric I have from the 2 yards I was working with. So I have this, so I'm going to just divide this by 2 like so that I can cut the both of them at the same time. So I'll go ahead to turn this to the wrong side so that my markings will not be on the right side of the fabric. Now, if you are trying to cut a flail, one thing you should take note of is that the width and the length of the fabric should be the same thing, like giving you a box shape. So what I have here is 15, and what you should also have at this point should be 15. So I will just place this on fold like this, and this is the center, and you're going to place this on another equal fold like this, and this also is the center. Okay, now you're going to be cutting your flail on this part that has all its corners closed. The open part should be the down part, so that you will not get a pieces flail. So I'm going to go ahead to measure from the top 2 inches, but if the person has a bigger round sleeve, you can go ahead to measure 2.5 or 3 inches at most. So I'll just mark 2 inches like this, and I'm going to connect it like so. Following my first curve, I'll go ahead to mark out my desired length, which I'm using 4.5. So I'll just place my tape following the curve. I'll mark it all around, and I'll connect the mark points together. I'll go ahead to cut this out. It's a round flail. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to be cutting my lining in this shape. I've gone ahead to cut lining for the back part. Everything is in the same shape. It's just the length. The length should be 1 inch shorter, so you can use it to turn it up. For the front part, you are going to be ironing light stay on the front center and on the neckline. I'm also going to be doing the same thing on the lining, and you should also make sure that the lining is 1 inch shorter in length. I went ahead to turn the flip part with the lining I cut out. I sewed it all around, turned it up, and ironed it down. I'm going to be top stitching before I trim out the excess lining. I've also gone ahead to sew the down part of the back part, and I have ironed this down. I've done the same thing for the front. Please ensure sure that you turn the down part first before you go ahead to sew the front center and turn up the neckline. It makes it easier. So I've gone ahead to turn the neckline and the front center. I've also gone ahead to turn the back neckline. I have ironed it down. So next you take the front side facing the front side of the back, and you're going to join lining to lining and fabric to fabric. Okay, so you just sew this straight up. For the side as well, you're going to be joining fabric to fabric and lining to lining, and you'll be sewing this straight up. All right, so I'll just go ahead to do this joining for the both side, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. So I've joined the shoulders. I would also clip it like so. I've also gone ahead to join the sides, and I did the same thing for the both side, lining to lining, fabric to fabric. I am going to flip this to the right side from the armhole. So you just put your hands inside and flip this to the right side. So all you have to do next is to give this a good press on the side seam, on the down part, and on the shoulder point to make sure that the lining and the fabric is well relaxed. For the sleeve, you're just going to be turning the sides with lining. All right, you're not going to be turning the up part and the down part. You place it on fold and you shape it according to your sleeve measurement, and you go ahead to attach the flare. I have made my belt, and the length of the belt is 3 times my waist measurement so that I can tie it to be full. To join the sleeve perfectly, first you're going to top stitch the lining on the armhole area to the fabric all around. Then remember this point where we shifted the back shoulder to the front. You're going to notch it, and that will be the center shoulder. Now for the sleeve, make sure you have joined the flare and also notch the center of the sleeve. Next thing you are going to do, you are going to measure your armhole circumference on your jacket. This is very important to achieve a perfect sleeve. You measure this all around. I also confirm that you also have the same thing on the top part of your sleeve. All right, but if you do not have, make sure you adjust your sleeve so that it will be the same thing as your jacket armhole. Next, you are going to pin the notched part of the sleeve and the jacket together like so, and you're also going to pin the side seam of the jacket and the sleeve together, and you are going to go ahead to sew this all around. While you sew this, make sure you do not stretch or squeeze it so that you will not be having any rumpled effect when you are done sewing. I'm done fixing the sleeve. I'll flip this to the right side. Do not forget to overlock the shoulder for a neat finish. I'm going to be giving this a good press to make the sleeve parts relax. So this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.